The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. We are going to get started in just a few minutes. Can everybody see my screen now? Okay, I will be recording this in case anybody wants to go through it later. They'll be able to do that. And we're going to get started. All right, the first thing, this is your Ninja Control Center panel. Now, in the older version, it actually told you this was the control panel. Now it just says NinjaTrader up here in the left-hand corner. And this really is a control center. It controls just about everything that you will be doing in NinjaTrader. If you want to import your tools, if you want to create an instrument list, if you want to create a chart or a market analyzer or pull up the DOM, all of this is done through the control center, okay? So what we're going to start out with is just going through the different options you have here. And of course, the new is where you would bring up either a chart or a market analyzer. Now, I do not trade through NinjaTrader, so I'm not going to go into the order entry that NinjaTrader provides. I mainly trade binary options now, and I don't even use NinjaTrader for my order entries, okay? You do have that capability, okay? If you're trading futures or you're trading Forex, they do have what's called a super DOM, and that's where you would go, or you could trade directly from the chart, either one, okay? Now, when I send out the tools, the first thing I tell you to do is save everything to a folder on your desktop. Number one, this gives you a backup copy so you don't have to call or email and ask for another copy. And it also provides a way for you to get to all of the files very simply. Okay, so once you do that, you would go into the control center, you would click tools, and then you would click import. And then you would select NinjaTrader add-on. Now at that point, it's going to ask you, okay, where's the file you want to import? You select it and you import it. And that's really all there is to it. It's very, very easy to import the indicators. Now on the workspaces, and I'm going to go through some other things here, but not yet. Under the workspaces, do you see how I have the green right here? I know it's hard to see, but there is one here that has a green square, okay? And I have it highlighted for you. That tells me this is an open workspace and it's the one I'm currently working on. This is the way that you switch between your training or your workspaces. For example, if I click 3, then it would give me a different workspace, which is off to the other side of my screen. But if I go up here, do you see how the green is now highlighting Untitled 3? That's because that is my current workspace. Okay, does everybody understand that? Because you can create so many workspaces, you're like, I don't even know where I'm at now. And I don't know whether you can see it, but the training workspace is the one I had open earlier. The green went to the background. Now you probably can't see that because, I'm projecting my screen, but if this tells me, okay, it's open, but this one is the one I'm working on. This is the highlighted one at the moment. Okay. Now, on your connections, you have a couple of different connections, and you have to configure them yourself. One is kinetic end of day. Okay. And let's say that some of you are long-term traders. Well, this would give you the end of day, like for stocks. It would give you the ability to see the daily and the weeklies and the monthlies without paying extra for the data, okay? I have my Kinetic, which you can see has a green dot. I already have it set up. You also have the option of having the NinjaTrader data feed, or you can even add one by going to Configure. If you go to Configure, you can see all of the data feeds that are offered and supported by this version of NinjaTrader. So for example, if I wanted to put in IQ feed, then I could click IQ feed. I could add it, okay, because these are the ones that are configured, and I would have to go in here and put in my username, my password, and you want to do the connect on startup, because that means as soon as NinjaTrader starts up, that data feed will connect, okay? You can also remove data feeds the same way, okay? Now, I want to go back to Workspaces for just a moment, because do you see how I've got the little squares on Untitled 3? Now I can go here and close it and just say no. And you see it's still listed here, but it is now closed. How do I know it's closed? Because it has no squares beside of it, okay? I can also create a new workspace just by going workspace and down here to new. And then it's going to ask me for a name of the workspace. Now, the next thing I want to go through is instruments, okay? Under instruments, and that is under the main menu, you go to tools and go to instruments. Now, all of these instruments here, let's go and click on the 6N because I never used that one. And I'm going to go to edit. You can see here the trading hours is set to CME, FX futures, ETH. Okay. You can expand the trading hours and you can set this to anything that you want. Now, most of them will come up as default. I do go ahead and tell NinjaTrader I want to use the CME FX futures RTH, which is just real-time hours, is the way I remember that, okay? But you can change any of your instrument times. It does make a difference in indicators, okay? If you have trading hours set to end at 6 p.m., okay, and begin at 6:01 p.m., you're going to have different values on your indicators because your data is different, okay? The ending hours will be different. Does everybody understand that? Now, why does this matter? Okay, and it matters because your market analyzer is going to use the trading hours that you have set up for that symbol. Okay, so let's say that you have a chart that's set to use Forex, and then you have a market analyzer that is using the CME FX futures. You're going to have two different values. When you see, for example, an ADX value of 75 in the market analyzer, but you look at your chart and the chart only has 60, typically that is an issue with your trading hours, okay? And this is why it's so important that you make sure if you change that, you change it here, not just on the chart, okay? Because this is where it's going to default to for the market analyzer. Now, you can also set up list. And for example, we're going to create an instrument list. And let me go back so I can highlight what I did. Tools, instrument list. And I'm just going to add a list here. And I'm going to call it Gail's training list. Now, if you can see, there's nothing there right now. Okay. I'm going to add, let's add the Dow, okay? And all I did was type in YM, and then I actually click on the magnifying glass. So now I can go in and I can highlight the YM and say OK. And I'm going to add Duke Energy. I love Duke. So I'm going to add that one. Now, why would you want to do that? Because when you pull up a chart, and we're just going to go New Chart, you'll see now that right here I have that list, okay? And that's important because if you want to be able to change instruments very quickly, and I'm just going to show you real quick. I'm going to use a daily and click OK. All right, if I want to come in here now and change this, it's very easy to go over and select Gail Training List and go to Duke, okay? Versus having to go up here and search and then pull up Duke. It's just a shortcut to an instrument that you use a lot. So I always create an instrument list for my faves, okay? Everybody understand how to do that? Any questions so far? Okay, I also send out instrument list. Sure, Bonnie. For the instrument list, you go to Tools, Instrument List, and click Add. Give it any kind of name you want. Okay. And let's see, Gale 2. And then over here, and this is where you add the instrument. This is your list. This is your instrument. So you can click Add. Yes, you can just do Duke. Hi, Bob. Any other questions on the instrument list? Now, I will tell you this. If I were to create an instrument list, there are certain things I think you need to do in order. Okay? The first thing that I would do, and this is a great example, it would be instruments. I'm going to type in the YM. I'm going to highlight the YM, but then I'm going to edit it, okay? And let me find out where it's at. No, you can't edit it there. So it's not giving me what I'm looking for. Let me find it. No, it should be there. Okay, let me find what I'm looking for. Is it under trading? They moved this one on me. That's not it. Why would they have it? Yep, that's where it's at. I'm not sure why they did this, but they did. If you go to Tools, Instrument List, if you go to Futures, it's typically going to display the current contract. Now, if you notice, I have the YM pound pound. That is the continuous contract. Does everybody understand the difference between the current expiration and the continuous contract? All right. We're going to look at the Dow, okay? In September, the current Dow contract will expire and it will roll over to the December contract, okay? When that happens, and I can show you with crude, do you see how I have crude 817 and crude 917? That is because this is not a continuous contract, okay? All right. So if I want to add, for example, the ES continuous contract, so I do not have to change my market analyzer every 3 months, then I would do add, and we're going to go back and do, for example, the NASDAQ. We're going to click on the NQ. Wait a minute, I have to change it here. Now, do you see where it says expiry? It says 09-17. Okay, do you see how it has pound pound dash pound pound? You have to select that and then click OK. Now you can see I have the NASDAQ pound pound. I want to do it for the ES as well. And this is something that they actually changed in NinjaTrader 8 where you can access this. So now you can see I've got the ES, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. In addition to that, I could create a list that says continuous contracts. Okay. Now, under the continuous contracts, what I could do would be add the YM. I would add the NASDAQ. And I would add, oh, that one didn't come up right. We're going to add the ES. We're going to remove this one because that's not the one I wanted, because it should have said 0917. So I'm going to go back and add the correct NASDAQ. And that would be for the future. And then I'm going to edit each one of these to be the continuous contract. And this just makes sure that I do not have to change these at a certain time. It's always going to use this particular symbol because it's continuous contract, okay? And then I'm going to click OK. Wayne, you said, Gail, is the list like a watch list? If you have charts in Workspace all on one screen, it will change all 5 charts to the instrument you want. Well, you can do that through charts too. You wouldn't have to use a market analyzer for that. Or even a list, as long as your instrument is in a main list, you can change through it. And I'm going to show you that in a minute, Wayne. All right. Now, one thing I want to show you before we really get started is when I send out the tools, I send you out templates, okay? And on the templates, there's a couple of templates that I send out. Well, actually quite a few. Some of them are chart templates. Some of them are market analyzer templates. Now, what you have to do, NinjaTrader actually will store all of your stuff in the Documents folder unless you tell it otherwise, okay? So if you go to Documents and you see NinjaTrader 8, okay, that's where you want to store these templates. But not all of them are stored in the same location, okay? They will all be under templates. But from there, you either have to store them under the chart folder or the market analyzer folder. Those are the only two folders that I will store stuff in. Are you changing the continuous contract for both the market analyzer and charts so you never have to change for rollover except crude? Yeah, you can do that. You can even do it on crude. Anything that has an expiration, Bonnie, can be changed to pound. So now this is very important. When you look at the templates, you will either use the chart template or you will use the market analyzer. And I tell you which one goes where. Does everybody understand that? And it is always under My Documents or Documents, NinjaTrader, Templates, and then it can either be Chart or Market Analyzer. And if you don't put them in the right folder, you won't be able to use them. Okay? Now, why is that so important? Okay? Well, let me show you. With NinjaTrader, let's bring up, let's just bring up the NASDAQ. And we'll do a minute and we'll do a 12-minute period. And we're just going to say, okay. So if you go into the data series, do you see how trading hours use instrument settings? All right, this is where I typically have already set mine to use the CME FX futures, okay? But you don't have to worry about that if you're using one of my templates, okay? And here's why. All of my templates are set to use the right one. So in this case, I am going to right-click on my chart. I'm going to go to Templates, and I'm going to left-click on Load. These are all of my chart templates, okay? You can see I have a 12-minute all. That's all of my indicators in one, okay? And I'm going to click Load. And as you can see, all of my indicators are already loaded. That saves you so much time. Just that one little template will save you a ton of time. Now, I can say, oh, that's just too much. I can't look at all that right now. I can go back to templates and say load and say I only want the trend. Oh. And there's just the trend on my indicator. Or I can say, well, maybe I want a little bit more than that. And I could go to the, I believe it's this one, Brown Trend Stock, which stands for trend in stochastics. Now, I could also add a 3-minute to this one. Okay. You have to add it over here where it says add down here. Where's my NASDAQ? There it is. And we're going to go here for a 3-minute. Now, this is a 12 and this is a 3. But now you have a problem. You don't have any indicators on the 3-minute. I have a template for that too. Again, right-click on the chart, left-click on Load after you highlight templates, and there's 2 time frames here, okay? And this is one that I send out, and you click Load. Now you can see I've got the 12-minute on top, the stochastics, the 3-minute, and the stochastics. Does everybody see that? Now that is the easiest way to get up 2 time frames with all of the indicators in them, okay? Now, we're going to put this over, we'll put that here. I'm going to create a new chart real quick. We're going to do the NASDAQ, and we're going to do a 180 on top. But we need to load more days because that's 180 minutes. So in here, I'm going to click 90. And then I'm going to add another one for a 45-minute. Again, I want more days, so I'm going to go 60 minutes. Now, if you notice up here at the top, it will say load templates only, okay? I can also click up here and say load the dual 45 180. And you can see that's exactly what it does. Now, Wayne, this is what you're kind of talking about with Watchlist. Okay, if I come over here and do New Market Analyzer, now I could sit here and go add the NASDAQ, add the Dow, add the ES. I really don't want to do that though. So I want to load them all at one time. So I'm going to go down to my continuous contracts and select all. And you can see they all did it at one time. No, NinjaTrader 8 is actually really good with multiple time frames, Bonnie. Wayne, if you'll give me just a minute, I'll show you how to remove the instruments. Now, Wayne, this is what typically you see as a market watch list. It's just like this. It has an ask price, bid price, and last price. Well, you know, charts are so easy to change. To me, this is kind of worthless like this. That's why I designed the market analyzer with my indicators. And on this one, let's say that we want to do a 45-minute market analyzer. I just highlight my 45-minute template and click load. Now you can see it loads all of the values of my indicators in the market analyzer, okay? Now, do you see where you have this little gray box here? Notice that you have them over on your charts as well. So if you highlight over it, it will tell you it's an instrument link. And I'm going to select red. And then I'm going to come up here to the one that says instrument link. I'm going to select red on this one. Notice how they just changed to the continuous contract. So if I click here, these over here change as well. Here's the drawback, okay? I'm going to have to rename this market analyzer to 45-minute to let me know this is from the 45-minute. And then I'll have to create another one, for example, the 12-minute, okay? And this time I'm going to go to templates load, and I've got a 12-minute. And this is the only part y'all have to remember to do is rename the market analyzer, because it always saves with whatever I put on there. Now, all I have to do is click the instrument list in red, and now I've got both a 12-minute and a 45-minute. Does everybody understand that? If you start sizing this market analyzer window, the columns get all screwed up. See how you can't see the price to congestion here? And if you pull it back out, sometimes it will screw up all of these in here. I think they must have fixed that. Oh, they did. Cool. The last time I tried this, it screwed up all of my columns. They evidently fixed that, which is cool. Any questions on applying the market analyzer? This is the only way you can get a market analyzer to display the indicators. They have to be programmed specifically for the market analyzer. Now, you can also do one. Let me see if I have a 3-minute designed. Okay, I don't have a 3-minute design, but it's a great opportunity to show you how to modify one. So I'm just going to do exactly the same thing. Put all of my instruments in here. And the first thing I'm going to do is apply the template. And we're going to load the 12-minute. But I want this to be a 3-minute. Okay? And I want to remind myself of that, so I'm going to go ahead and rename it now. Okay, now what you have to do is right-click on your market analyzer, left-click on columns. Now this is more complicated, which is why I send you out the typical market analyzers. You have to go to each one of these columns and put in 3-minute time frame. Okay, so I've highlighted the ADX peak value, and I'm going to scroll to where it says type minute value 3. I want that to be value 12. I want it to be 3. And I have to do that for each one of these. And then I'm going to click OK. Notice that it's going to change all of your values. Now that you have that set up, right-click, go to Templates, and do Save As, and put in 3-minute. Okay? No, it's not searchable anywhere else. But in Wayne, you can actually combine these. For example, I could come back here, and it's a new market analyzer already. I can insert the continuous contracts, and I could actually apply the 3-minute that I just created. Okay? So do you see how that says 3-minute and this is 12-minute? I could have a 45 here. This is what I don't like about that, okay? I want to see the price at ATR. Now, we do have in the market analyzer we do have, if I go to columns, we do have alerts on these. For example, the ticks to ATR, price to ATR, price to congestion. These do have alerts on them, okay? You just tell it where the alert audio file is, and you copy the path there, and bam, it will give you an alert. Takes more computer resources, okay? That's why I don't like doing that. And, just having it up like this, and I mean, I've got six monitors. So, I have all of my market analyzers on one screen. And then that allows me to just kind of scan over it and say, okay, I need to look at this, or I need to look at this, or whatever. So does that answer your question? Now, I can tell you all of them are linked because I see the red squares and all of these. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you an example of why that is important to me. Okay? Now, up here, it says prices at the ATR on the ES. I know the trend is down. The trend is down here, and the trend is down here as well. So immediately when I see this, I say, oh, I need to go check the ES. Okay? Now, the first thing that I would notice if I pulled this screen up is, oh, wait a minute. This is really overextended to the short side. So even though this is within the 5-tick range of the ATR, I know I don't want to take that. Now, I could have just looked here. Do y'all see that? So it's a matter of how fast can you process information, okay? Does everybody understand that? And when I have them aligned, like I have them aligned right now, what's the one thing that would stand out at you? Okay. Well, for me, the one thing that stands out at me is when I see this price at ATR, this is where I go next. Well, it's oversold. I'm not touching that. If it was here, I would immediately look down to my 45. Do y'all understand that? To me, this is, a quick way to say, hey, I need to analyze this, or, ooh, I don't need to even look at that. Because what happens when we look? When we look, then we start justifying a trade, whether it's there or not. We're going to start justifying a reason to take that trade. Anybody ever done that before, or am I the only one that ever does that? This one, as long as this oversold is here, I would know. Don't even think about it. Okay? This market is going to retrace. Do not think about that right now. Yeah, just me. Charles, do you set indicators on price chart to update on change in tick price or bar close? Most of them will be on bar close because it will create a lag if you're doing it on each individual tick change. My exception is the trend. I will update that intra-bar, but I am very selective over which ones I allow to update intra-bar. But this is also why I, warn y'all that the ADX here may lag. And this is why I tell you to start watching, because this is the current bar. This is the previous bar. You're right at the point of this ADX peak coming in, and it's going to go back to the ATR. Does that make sense to you, Charles? No, this is a 180. It tells you right up here. Each one of them will tell you on the chart. Over here, it's actually on the tab. The only way you know is the name that you give the tab should always identify your market analyzers. Does everybody understand that? Now, when NinjaTrader first came out, when NinjaTrader 8 first came out, I did really try to do, where I would have the 3, the 12, the 45, the 180 all within one tab. And it just, I missed trades because I was on the wrong tab. Or because, I'm switching between tabs all the time and it just got on my last nerve. I think it's a great concept, but as traders, we kind of need it put in our face all the time, And that's the reason, I generally align my time frames just like you see them right now, because I want everything in my face. Does that make sense? It's very easy for me to say, let's say that I was on the Dow, okay? Let's say that my charts were on the YM, and I see this pop up in my market analyzer. So you see this pop up. So then you say automatically, oh, okay, I might need to go look at that. Okay. But then your eyes go here and you're, nah, no reason to look at that. Go off of it. Yeah, the multiple tab, I think it was a great concept. It just doesn't work for me. And I think, sometimes it's a personal choice, guys. It really is. Which layout can you process faster? And for me, fastest is through the market analyzers with my charts up. Okay. Now, Wayne, I believe it was you wanted to know how to take symbols off of the instrument list. So let's go to futures and let's remove crude. You highlight it over here on the right and click remove. Remove, 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 and now I only have my continuous contracts. When I go over here to futures, you see how I don't have them anymore. They're gone. Now I can also remove the instrument list that I don't want. For example, I might not want the Dow 30, or I might not want the indices or my favorites or the NASDAQ 100. Actually, I do, so I'm not going to remove them. But if you highlight the one that you do not want and click remove, it will take it off of there. But be careful using that, okay? If you're in the chart, I don't think you can. I can try real quick. Let's see if we can break it. No, you can't remove it from here. It has to be done through the control panel. And that's probably a good thing because you might be deleting things that you really want to keep. Any other questions about that? Now, this price at ATR, that is set through the columns, okay? I know, for example, right now that's within 5 ticks of the ATR, or has been within 5 ticks of the ATR, because it's set that way on default. But let's say that you want to change, let's say it's the 45-minute, okay? You'll need to go to the 45-minute analyzer and go to columns. And we'll stretch this out and stretch it up because we're going to need it. So if we go to ticks to ATR, do you see where it says tick to ATR? Tick to congestion is 5. I'll set that at 10. I'll set the ticks to ATR at 10. And now it needs to be within 10 ticks for it to be highlighted. Okay? So I'm going to click apply. And now I know that on the 45-minute market analyzer, it needs to be within 10 ticks to be highlighted in those columns. Does having multiple analyzers consume a lot of memory? Well, yes, it does use more memory, but NinjaTrader is more efficient at using memory now. But, you know, it also comes into what kind of computer do you have. Now, I do suggest for everybody that you set up your chart the way that you want it and then save it as a template, okay? And the reason is sometimes, you know, for whatever reason, your NinjaTrader might crash. I can rebuild my entire workspace in less than 5 minutes because I use the templates. And that's the reason. I mean, you can see I've got templates for every occasion. Okay. I've got the higher time frame. I have the duals. You know, I've got all kinds of templates here. Okay. It depends on what instrument you're talking about, Lewis. The Dow does not move in ticks, it moves in points because it moves in full numbers. The ES is 4 ticks to a point. On the NASDAQ, it's 4 ticks to a point. No, the templates that I send you, they're already done, Benjamin. You know, for example, when I send you the templates, you go to File, New Chart, and if you want a single time frame, you select your instrument, select your time period, and let's just do a 12-minute. You'll come up here to Templates, and you'll just say, okay, this is the template I want, and click OK. That's how easy it is to set up your charts with the templates, okay? If you want to set up a market analyzer, okay, you go to File, New, Market Analyzer, add your instruments, and then right-click, go to Templates, load the template that you want. And I can send you any of them I have. I don't mind. So, I mean, really, literally, you can get up and running in minutes. Charles, how long did it take you to set up your NinjaTrader 8 with the templates? I mean, I'm thinking less than 15 minutes. And that's the reason I send you the templates, because I don't want, you know, I'm really good at this. I've been doing this for a long time, and I can probably set up a template quicker than anybody. They're sent out with the silver and the diamond package, Gunter. But now if somebody buys just the trend, I've got one set up just for the trend, and I can show it to you. Because I've had a couple of people that bought the trend indicator and nothing else, and I created a template for them. A lot of times it just market analyzer trend is the one. If you tell me you need this, then generally I will create it. So it was 15 to 20 minutes for Charles. And that was, setting up NinjaTrader 8, importing the indicators, everything. And I mean, the silver package, well, the silver and diamond both, but I'm not selling the diamond right now. So let's just say the silver package, and the create your own package. You get a ton of videos online with those packages. And I mean a ton. But they're very structured. I like structure. It will say you start here, and I even give you the list. This is where you need to start and work down through. If you need training on the package, this is where you go. Any other questions, guys? Oh, one other thing. Let's say that, okay, you spent all this time setting up your workspace. Make sure you go to Workspaces, highlight the one that has the green square, and click Save As, and put, my THD workspace. Okay. So now, do you see how it says my THD workspace? I can close it. It's gone. I can come back, highlight it. It's back. Okay. Always make sure that you save your workspace. And I've only had, I think, one occasion. Let's see. Okay, do you see how this workspace, and this is a great example, do you see how this workspace is not loading right? And I'm going, what the hell's wrong with this thing? Okay, right click, templates, load, dual 12.3, load. See how I just fixed that? Now, how long did it take me to fix that chart? And I've had that happen before. That's why I have all my templates. And again, it goes back to my philosophy: plan for the worst, prepare for the best. Okay, it took me, 60 seconds to fix that chart? That is correct, Bonnie. Absolutely. And NinjaTrader actually does a really good job on the multiple charts. They really do. And the ability to link all of them, it's just makes it even all the better. Any other questions? Now, I will post this video because some of the things, okay, for example, like the continuous contract, you only set up one time. So it's kind of like, oh God, where did I do that at? So you'll be able to go back and review it. It's a huge improvement over 7. Huge. I really have to give it to them. They didn't give me everything I wanted because I wanted them to change the market analyzer a little bit more. But, I mean, it's a huge improvement over NinjaTrader 7. And NinjaTrader 7, I used to crash it all the time. And I've crashed NinjaTrader 8 once. Once. And then they did an update about 2 weeks later, and it hasn't crashed since then. Oh, yeah, it was, Charles. Seriously outdated. And see, this is why we had to reprogram all the indicators. They went to a new programming language. So we actually had to reprogram all of our indicators. But it's worth it in the long run because it's a nice platform. At first, I didn't like the brown, but I actually like it. It took, I'm not good with change, but I like the brown. So, well, it allows you to scan very, very quickly. Okay. Especially like if I know some of you do not have all of them all the monitors that I have. You might be working off of 2 monitors. Okay. So in that case, this one is going to have all of my market analyzers. Okay. And you could put a 180, a 720, a 1440 weekly, whatever it is. Okay. And you could have all of that on one screen and all of your charts on the other one, very, very easily. Any other questions? Which data feed is best with NinjaTrader? Benjamin, that depends on what you're trading. What are you looking to trade? IQ feed, they have, Forex data. The Forex data, I think, is $30 a month right now on special. Indices is what gets expensive. You can get are you a beginning trader, Benjamin? Okay. You could go with IQ feed for the indices and Forex. I think it's going to run you about $200 a month. You could go with Kinetic. That would be another option. It's going to run you about the same. Or, like if you open an account with NinjaTrader or with AMP, then you would get the data. They have a combined package for futures. I think it runs about $30 a month as long as you have an account with them. I am going to be posting this webinar, Bonnie. Sometimes they do. The advantage is, this one is going to have more spacing than this one down here. You're right. Okay. But you can also always click and drag it along the bottom. And I do that a lot because I want, okay, what's the high level overview? Well, this is the high level. Now let's zero down and see what's really happening. I tend to do that more over on this one because, on the 3-minute, it does get really tight sometimes. But, you can easily zoom it just from the the time bar down here, Chris. Any other questions before we end the webinar this morning? All right. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And I'm not having any webinars the month of September because I'm taking care of my mom this month. She broke her foot and I have to take care of her, but we will start having webinars again in October. Now, I am scheduled to have one Wednesday with Nadex. We're actually going to look at the Asian session that night. So I'll send out an email about that sometime this weekend, probably Monday or Tuesday. Oh, yeah, the signals are still going out, Gunter. No problem there. They run automatically on an intraday and weekly basis now. Was it hard getting used to NinjaTrader? No, actually, it was pretty easy because it's a better platform, which is why it was easy to get used to. Any other questions? Oh, great, Gunter. We're doing weekly signals now. You don't get as many. But, you know, they're sent out on a weekly basis. I think you'll probably only get 5 signals a week. But again, that would depend on how the markets are moving. They're based on the 240 minute. So, all right. Everybody have a wonderful day. Yes, I do have the intraday as well. I can't get rid of them. I'm an intraday trader, so. All right. Well, thank you. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. And I look forward to seeing you Wednesday night with Nadex.